Hi everyone. So, I might be a tutor, but I'm actually in school too. And at my school, we are learning about the water cycle, as you can see right here. I thought it was so cool that I wanted to share it with you all. But before we can talk about the water cycle, we need to go over how water works and how it can change form with different temperature, right? Because water changes when you heat it up or put it in the freezer, right? And then, after we talk about that and the water cycle, we finish by talking about why this stuff is important to us and why we should know about it and how it can affect our lives. Because it absolutely does. Alright, so let's get started with how water works and how it can change form. Okay, so first let's talk about liquids. So, Thomas, do you know what a liquid is? Is water a liquid? Yeah, water is a liquid. And liquids are a form of matter that flows really easily and can fit any container that you put it into. So, again, Thomas, what would happen if you poured some water in a cup? What would the water be shaped like? What about if you put it in a funny looking cup, like a cup shaped like a rubber ducky? Would it look like the rubber ducky? Yeah, it would. All right, so let's move on then. So, what would happen if we took our water right here and let's say we wanted to make some coffee or soup and we needed to heat up some water? What would happen to some of the water? Would it all stay in the pot that we're boiling or cooking it in? Rhonda, what do you think? No, it wouldn't. Some of it would become steam, like this. Isn't that cool? I thought this was really cool when I found this. So yeah, some of it will become steam, and steam is a kind of gas. And gas is a form of matter that is kind of like air. You can't really hold on to it, and you can put it in a container, but it might get out. What would happen if we tried to fill a cup with some steam, Rhonda? Yeah, it wouldn't stay in there. It would rise and go and leave. Yeah. And then, let's see. So, okay, maybe we wanted some ice because our coffee was too hot for us. So, how would we do that? So, what would happen if we took our water right here and we put it in a freezer or somewhere really cold? Let me ask Gerald. Gerald, what do you think would happen? Yeah, let's see. So, if we put the water somewhere cold, it becomes ice. Isn't that cool? Solid water that's allergic to heat. Yeah, and so ice is a kind of solid, right? It's nice and hard and you can hold on to it before it melts. And it's different from, let's see, liquid, our gas, and our solid. We have these three forms of matter right here, which is all the forms of water. And it's going to be super important when we talk about the water cycle next. So now that we've talked about the different forms of water, let's talk about the water cycle. Let's start over here with evaporation. Can everyone see this? Can everyone say evaporation with me? Evaporation. So that's when the water, let's see, in the ocean, we see this big blue ocean right here. That's when the water in the ocean gets warmer. And remember what happens when water gets warmer? It becomes a gas and goes up. See the sun, this big sun that I added right here? It's warming up the ocean over here, and then some of the water from the ocean is going to become a gas and go up into the sky. And then the next part over here is condensation. This is how clouds form. So, hey Lisa, do you think it's really cold or really hot up in the sky? See right here, this mountain's really up in this high in the sky, and there's some snow. That's a little hint for you. But yeah, it's super cold up in the air. So what happens again when water gets cold? It starts to become a solid, right? So up here, it becomes a cloud. It's not quite cold enough for it to become a giant block of ice, but it becomes more solid here and it becomes a giant cloud. And what are clouds made of again? Lisa? Yeah, it's super easy. Yeah, it's made of water. So right here. And then, so clouds, are they super heavy like a rock, or are they super nice and fluffy like a feather? Yeah, they're super nice and fluffy. And what would happen if we blew on a cloud, would it move or would it stay right where it is? Yeah, it would move. So let's see the cloud right here. Let's say there's some wind. I'm going to draw some wind. It's blowing it this way. And then then we can talk about precipitation. So let's say the cloud's been up there for a really long time and it's been getting more and more water. What do you think would happen if it gets super, super heavy? Let's see. Let's ask Logan. What do you think would happen if the cloud gets super, super heavy? Yeah, it would start to drop some stuff. Like, let's say, Logan, I gave you a bunch of bouncy balls to hold in your arms like this, and I kept giving you more. What would happen to some of the bouncy balls? Yeah, they would start to fall out of your hands, and there's not much you can do about that. And that's what we call precipitation. And that's where it starts to rain, and if it's cold enough, it starts to snow. Remember, water changes form when it gets super cold. And that's why it rains. And see, we can see some on the mountaintop. And then we have to talk about where that water goes. So where do you think that water goes, Stella? You can see it right here. Yeah, it goes everywhere. Nice answer though. So sometimes the water will see this mountain. It will run down the mountain and go back into the ocean. Or over here you can see a little bit of a river. It'll go into the river. And some of it will actually go underground because soil itself likes to absorb water too. And that's super important, especially for Pomona, but we'll talk about that later. And then, see, it's called surface runoff. Can everybody say surface runoff? Oh, I forgot. We gotta say precipitation together. Everybody say precipitation and condensation. Cool. All right. And so we also see over here that this can happen from plants too, because plants have water in them. And this is called transpiration. Everybody say transpiration. This one isn't as important right now because we want to focus on these, but this is cool to know too. And then that becomes condensation and then precipitation again. All right. So the water flows back into the rivers, into the ground, and into the ocean. And so it's back in the ocean. What do you think happens after that? Let's see. Let's ask Eric. What do you think happens to the water once it reaches the ocean? Does it just stay there for a million years? Or does it get warmer with the sun? Yeah, it gets warmer. And then what happens? Yeah, it keeps going. This is why we call it a cycle, because this happens over and over and over again. Yeah, like that. So, how long do you think it takes for water to get from here at the start all the way to the end, from evaporation to surface runoff? Can anyone tell me? Yeah, you wouldn't know this, but I thought it was really cool. I looked it up, and a drop of water can take up to 3,000 years. That's like almost as old as me. Isn't that crazy? Yeah, I thought that was super crazy. All right, so now that we've talked about the water cycle, let's talk about why this might be important. So, does everyone know where their water comes from? I think I mentioned something earlier. But if you live in Pomona, most of your water actually comes from underground. How do you think that water got there? Do you think it just magically appeared one day? Or somebody just put it there? No, that'd be silly. No, it came from surface runoff. So you see, some of it went underground, and sometimes that can that water can become giant pools of water underneath the ground. And we call those aquifers. Can everybody say aquifer? Yeah, so that's where most of Pomona's water comes from. Me, I live in Portland, and most of our water comes from the Bull Run watershed. That's a fun word to say. Can everybody say that? Bull Run watershed? Yeah, so that's just a fancy way of saying our water comes from like up in the mountains, where once it gets warmer, that snow and ice on the mountains, it melts and then becomes surface runoff and fills up a giant pool on top of the ground. And that's where we get most of our water. So, yeah, why is it important to know where our water comes from, though? When do we use water? Let's see. Let's ask Carol. When do we use water? Yeah, we use it all the time. We use it when we're taking a shower, when we're going swimming or drinking water or cooking, yeah, it's super important. Do you think we can live without water? Anyone can answer this one. No, we can't. So it's super important that we know where our water comes from. And do you think that the water that we have, like the ones that are underground or the Bull Run watershed, do we think that water is unlimited and will be there forever? No. So we have to take good care of it. We have to know that we're not always going to have that much water because remember, the water can take up to 3,000 years. And we might not live that long. I've lived that long, but not everybody else. Maybe not everybody else. I'm special, I guess. So, yeah. So, it's important to know where water comes from, and it's important to know that we need to take care of our water. We can't just throw our water out on the street for no reason. We need to be sure that we're using our water responsibly and in a way that isn't wasteful. Yeah, so drinking water, brushing our teeth, taking a shower, that's all great. We want you to stay clean and survive and not get dehydrated. But maybe like what let's see. Eric and Carol, what do you think is a how do you think you could waste water? Yeah, by throwing it in the street or splashing it on your friends for no reason. That can be fun, but we need to be we need to be careful about how we use our water. All right, and then let's see, Thomas and Gerald. How do you think we can save water? How do you think we can use it responsibly? Yeah, let's see, like when we're brushing our teeth, we can turn the faucet off before when we're not using the water. Or let's see, when we're taking a shower, maybe we should take shorter showers and not take like 3 days to take a shower. That would be crazy, right? But yeah, awesome. Well, that was great. Everybody did such a great job today, and I had a lot of fun teaching this and sharing it with you all. I hope you did too. All right, well, that's it from me. I'll see you next time. Bye.